and thank you for tuning in to Beyond Books today. You are in store for a special episode as I take you on a tour of all the wonderful art pieces throughout the library. When you turn into the library directly off of 10 Mile Road, you will be greeted with this eye-catching librarian statue. Formed out of the international symbol for library, the librarian stands tall at the main entrance as cars enter from 10 Mile Road. The sculpture was designed by artist Jim Havens from Ohio. Stay tuned as I take you on a tour of the whole library and the art that is featured in the library. So come on and come take a look with me. Every time you walk into the library, you are greeted with a beautiful bronze statue of 3 children reading. This cast bronze sculpture was designed by Randolph Rose of Yonkers, New York, and donated by the Friends of the Novi Public Library. Next time you're at the library or at the cafe in the library getting a snack, be sure to look directly behind you for this wonderful piece of art titled Maha Vase. This piece of work was generously donated by the Davio family in memory of longtime library patron Carol Davio. This sweeping, free-form, multi-dimensional sculpture was created by Renee Denauer. Renee has been creating a plethora of unique, free-form, wall and free-hanging sculpture formed of steam-bent hardwood since 1990. The sweeping bent elements are dyed or painted and subsequently glue clamped into rigid forms to be fine finished. Behind me is the Tree of Life, which many of you see when you enter the library, which is located directly behind the circulation desk that you probably see when you check out your books from the library. This piece is made of metal and was donated in memory of the library's dear friend and longtime patron, Myrtle Locke. Myrtle was a member of the Friends of the Novi Library for over 30 years, as well as a library board member from 1988 to 1997. The tree is a representation of the universal symbol for life. Now I will be going to sit down with artist Connie Lunsky, who created all the life tiles that are distributed throughout the library. I am sitting down with local Novi artist Connie Lunsky, and we are in front of all her beautiful pieces of artwork. One in particular, the life tiles that you've probably seen displayed throughout the library. Connie, hi.
Hi there.
Thank you for sitting down with me today. I'm so excited to talk about your pieces of artwork. One being specifically that I know a lot of library patrons have seen is the life tiles all around the library. But we'll get to that in a little bit. Let's kind of start out with the beginning process of kind of how your art pieces come to life. What is the process that you have to do?
Well, let me back it up a little bit. Life tiles came about because my hobby, I love to travel. And when I retired from education, I said, what am I going to do? Continue with my art. I got into tiles, and one tile turned into 1,700.
Oh my God!
And as I went through it, I realized they were telling a story, and it was just kind of a quest for knowledge and quest for understanding of what we're all about. I think the best way suggested is look at how do you make clay.
Yeah.
If you've ever been by a lake and you sank down to your ankles, you've got a close encounter with clay. It comes in different colors. It can be red clay, it can be white clay. Best process. You have clay to work with. You have to wedge out the clay to get the air bubbles out. Okay. Then you're ready to go if it has no air bubbles. So you give it a little test with a wire. And just cut it. Take a look.
Wow.
And ready to go.
I remember that from my ceramics class in high school.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I loved doing all that type of stuff. Very cool. So that's the first stage. You kind of have to roll the clay out, and then
Well, three ways to work it. One, you can sculpt it by hand, and this is an example of a Aztec piece. You can see it's just kind of molded, kind of low crude. The additions are added onto it, but you can tell a lot about the Aztecs. What kind of hair they have. He's a drummer. He looks kind of happy, happy kind guy.
And it's so interesting the different tools that are available to make art, all the details you can have on it, which is wonderful.
Oh, well, you can use any tool you want. The best ones are your hands.
Yeah, that's true.
The second method is a slab or a coil. You can take the clay, roll it out, add a little slip, which is nothing but clay and water. You score it with the tools, slip it up, just like glue. And then with the tools, you kind of weld them together until you begin to make one solid piece. Okay, From that, you can make almost anything. When we were in China, we were able to visit the emperor's mausoleum. And one day a farmer was plowing his fields, looked down, hit something, it was a head.
Oh my
He went off
gosh.
to the police station. By the time they got done, they had 6,000 figures, life-size.
Wow.
But I brought this to demonstrate the details that you can get in your piece.
Can I pick this up?
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
The emperor had, there's the emperor, the first emperor of China. He had his family, he had 6,000 soldiers, chariots, army, a zoo, etc. But it's one process that clay lasts forever. And this is why we know so much about ourselves, that we can go it. The method I'm working at is slab. You take your clay, you put it between some height, and you just roll it out. You cut it to shape. What you have basically is a canvas to work on. Next step, you dry it. And when you work on it, and I like to work in 3-dimension, that you build it up, or you can take your tools, carve it down. It's a format that tells a lot of stories.
So how long does it take to, when it's in the clay stage, to dry? Before you can actually work on it? About a week.
About
okay.
a week.
So you have to put this in the kiln, right, after it's,
Well, yeah,
or is that just
eventually.
the end that you do that?
No, that's the beginning. At this
Okay.
point, you can glaze it, put underglaze on it, and you put it in the kiln and you fire it for about 1,200 degrees. When it comes out, it's something totally different. It's solid. It can't be destroyed. This is now called bisque. You can glaze it. This is a piece from Detroit, 1930s, called the Arts and Craft Movement. And Mrs. Perry developed glazes which are like glass mixed with different minerals. You fire it again, and this Indian piece indicates how you can just hand paint it, and it tells a history.
So you hand painted that?
No, this is an Indian piece.
Oh, okay.
But you can tell they're in the Bear Clan. They work with the turtles, which was part of their myth creation. And it just tells a little bit about the people. When they left the village, they would destroy all the pots on purpose, but they couldn't destroy them permanently. But you can see, here they used coil, here they used the underglaze of the pots. And this is their throwaway pile.
That's really fascinating, the process, how it goes from just clay to this finished product. The time and spent into it, but it comes out really beautiful piece.
Oh, thank you.
So then these are,
Oh, no, this is, at this point, you take your clay, once it's glazed, then you fire it again about 2,000 degrees, cool it down.
and you have a kiln in your house, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you
Yeah.
probably do this all at your house, and that's a great
Backyard
hobby,
artist.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Look how the glazes come out, different color. This is a piece from Israel, kind of a modern piece. But you can get almost any technique.
Very cool.
In the glazes here at the library, I put with a clear glaze, so it's basically like a glass coating.
And I love how they're like 3D dimensional. Very, very cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Very nice. So these, I mean, if a patron has come in the library, they've seen your beautiful artwork, all the wonderful tiles, and these are a few like examples that you've done for the tiles. So are these, explain a little bit about these, how they work.
Well, these are the rejects. These are the ones that didn't make the exhibit.
But they don't even look like rejects. They're so nice. They're very lovely.
Oh, okay. The tiles, when we get to have a look at the exhibits, are organized in a very specific way. And see the different shapes? Each one is a portion of life. When I got done making tiles, I said, well, this is really telling a story. Let's see how they interlink together. And went through all the different portions of life. Some of the tiles have coins embedded in them. And every coin, this is the Cold War, the Russian coin, American coin with the eagle. But they tell part of the same story. Usually countries are very proud of what they do, and that's what they put on their coins.
So how did you, I know you said you went to school for education and art, right?
Right, I got my master's at Wayne State in art, in my teaching degree, master's in social studies,
Okay.
in history. And
So that
boy,
kind of ties in together, you know, history
Exactly.
of the tiles. And I know when we met on Thursday and I got to, you know, working at the library, I see all the wonderful tiles every day, but I don't really know the story behind them. So it was nice to meet with you on Thursday and kind of do a little tour of each section of them to learn more. So that kind of ties in together, history and then your love of art. So you traveled the world to make these pieces. You learned a lot of great information.
Oh, I did.
So that ties in together.
But I couldn't do it without the library.
Yeah.
Every time I hit a bump, I could go to the reference library or go to the stacks and I got my answers solved.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, yeah, so I know you started out, and I mean, the finished product is just amazing, but it's cool how that history and art can tie in together. So how long, you said there's 1,700 in the library?
No, 1,600.
1,600, so how long did that take you to do?
Well, about 5 years.
Wow.
Each tile takes about a week to do in the process of the drying, the boneware, up until glaze. But I did like 10 at a time. So I was always busy, you know,
Yeah.
planning ahead for it.
So the process is the hardest part, just kind of designing it once.
Hardest part was the research, but turned out to be the most enjoyable part.
Yeah, because you traveled a lot. You and your husband traveled a lot to
did.
learn all this information. And I mean, I was asking you questions like, why is this that? And I learned so much just from walking around and seeing them. I never knew. And it's cool the different, whether it's like sea life under the water or transportation, different decades. So it's really cool the timeline of the tiles in the library. And I encourage everyone to come and just take a look and see them because they really are wonderful.
What I hope is that people will come and they'll look at it and they'll say, oh, this is where my ancestors were born. Oh, look at this is what I did in the 70s. And they can actually show in the child section, you can go down and look and say, these are all the books that I read.
Yeah,
So
it really is interesting. And we have an art brochure in the library that we encourage everyone to pick up and take the tour. But they really have to see it to see how wonderful your creations are. You really did a great job.
Oh, thank you.
And so how did, I know this library building's been here for 5 years. How did you get in touch with the library? Like, how did that kind of come about?
What?
Because we put them up when we first opened in this new building in 2010. But how did that process kind of, your relationship with the library start?
Well, a lot of it was when I was in for research and began to talk to Julie, and we saw the common connection between the visual history, and the materials and the books that you have here. It's just a natural fit.
Yeah.
And she was nice enough to, you know, move the project along.
Oh, yeah, that's wonderful. And, you know, we love that people can come and learn from just our pieces of art and the life tiles. And at the library, it's more than just books. You know,
Exactly.
this art, you know, hopefully can inspire and just spreads people's imagination to learn more. So it's really a true and wonderful asset to this library. We appreciate you doing this. So anything else you want to touch on or add before we leave?
Well, I'd like to see that people would come in, and I'll tell you a little bit about the exhibits. I can only go on a few pieces, but they have to come in and explore by themselves.
They do, yeah. And we're so lucky to have all these pieces in the library. And it makes people happy, all this art. And like I said, it just inspires them. It's more than books. And we have a lot of wonderful art pieces here, including these life tiles. So, well, thank you so much for sitting down with me today. I learned a lot, and I just really appreciate your time. So,
oh, thank you for having me.
Thank you, and we will talk soon.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll probably see you around the library.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much. I am on the second floor of the library in front of the hand-blown glass apples designed by Richard Ritter. Richard is a graduate of Northville High School and the Center of Creative Studies in Detroit. His collections are showcased in the Detroit Institute of Arts, as well as an impressive variety of museums and galleries worldwide. The library's apple sculpture celebrates the city's history of apple orchards and symbolizes knowledge associated with many of the resources at the library. Next time you're at the library, stop on the second floor and be sure to see the wonderful designed apples. Now I am in the local history room here at the library on the second floor, and I am in front of the historical glass etchings. This display includes 7 beautifully crafted historical landmarks from around Novi, and local artists Ryan and Mindy Trainer were responsible for creating these pieces. The etchings represent the Methodist Church, Walled Lake Park, Novi Town Hall, Bassett Home, Novi Special, and the train station. Be sure to stop by and visit the local history room during office hours to not only learn more about our resources, but get a good look at all the wonderful historical etchings. As you exit the elevator in the library on the 2nd floor, to the right of you, you will come across a piece titled In Good Hands. This piece of art was created by artist Sylvia Arufo and donated to the library by her parents, Ernest and Eva Dawn Arufo. It is a wonderful picture that is painted, and we encourage all of you to see the art on the 2nd floor. Right now we are going to go down to the youth activity room, where I will be talking to Gail Kaplan about her mosaic piece, Jumping on Books. Right now I am standing in the youth activity room next to this beautiful piece, this mosaic piece called Jumping on Books. And with me is the artist herself, Gail Kaplan. Hi, Gail.
Hi,
Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It was great.
We are very excited to have you. Like I mentioned, we're doing this episode of our Beyond Books dedicated to all the art in the library. So we really appreciate you coming out and talking about this wonderful piece that you created. So it is all mosaic.
Right.
So,
we work in glass mosaic.
Okay.
I work with another artist, Donnie Katsir. And Donnie and I have been working together for about 17 years. And maybe 5 years ago, I believe we were commissioned to do this piece. We were actually brought into the project, asked to do it by Michael Berman, whose wife worked at the library, and she unfortunately passed away. And in her honor and memory, they asked us to do a piece for the library.
Wow, very nice. So it's been 5 years, and what kind of inspired you to create this? I know this is from a children's book, right?
Right. We used the theme of the 5 little monkeys jumping on the bed. Because it was a library, we decided to do the monkeys on the books. But the piece, although we created the piece, we were really the supervising artists. We worked with a community group on the project. Michael Berman's children were at the time teenagers. And at one of the events for their family, they invited friends and family to work on a community piece, which allowed more people to actually have their hands in the project. So we designed it, but all of the tiles on the project were hand cut from glass. We took the glass in sheets and cut them into strips, and then all of the kids working on it actually cut the glass and put it in place. And there's a lot of, although as an artist it's not always easy to sell your work, in doing the community projects, because you're involving so many people, we had a few hundred people work on this.
Wow.
So it was actually done in 2 phases. It was done first at the family's party, and then also at the library. So people who were in the library were able to participate also.
That is amazing. That's truly amazing, especially in Cheryl's memory. It's so wonderful to have this here and have the community come together and work on it like that for this beautiful finished product. And you could see, I mean, each individual piece of glass that makes up this piece of art.
The way the community pieces are done is we actually outline the project. So here you see the monkey's clothes, and the different images have an outline, kind of like a coloring book, and then it's up to all the participants to cut the glass and put it in place, and to put it in the right, not just the right color, but also there's a pattern. Here we use different shapes, squares, triangles, trapezoids, and so there's more to it than just cutting and gluing.
Yeah.
But all different levels of competency, different ages can work on a community project.
That's amazing that the community could get together and do that. That's truly wonderful. And so how long did it take you to, glue every piece on?
Well, we worked on it in 2 3-hour blocks at the different events, but we also worked on it in my studio. So, so it's, when you have, 100 people working at a time, you can get things done quickly.
Oh, yeah.
So if I were doing this in my studio, it would take me a month, but because we had the community and the numbers of people working on it, and it becomes not just an art piece, but it becomes a community effort, and the conversations that take place between the people working on it, that's part of the event. It's community building.
And now they can come and enjoy it here at the library.
Right. For people to see their work up in a public space in a permanent way is very meaningful. And at the present time, we're actually working with schools, 10 schools in Detroit, on a project for the Detroit Public Library on Woodward.
Oh, really?
So
okay.
This was our inspiration of libraries to do a piece in, and we've done mosaic community projects in schools, hospitals. We just finished a piece for Children's Hospital where we worked with 18 schools.
Wow.
So the community projects are really very successful, and this was, one of our earlier ones. So it was, as artists, it was great to work on this.
That's amazing. And so was this your first piece in a public library?
In a library.
In a library, okay.
Yes,
so it kind of just stemmed from that.
Well, we've done projects in schools and hospitals and senior residences before, but actually in a library, this was the first one installed in a library.
It really is a beautiful piece. Wow, and we're so lucky to have the community come and enjoy it in this room.
For me as an artist, not only is it exciting to have my work here, but your library has outstanding artwork, and so for me to be with the other artists, it's a personal accomplishment.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, we truly appreciate it. Like I said, this episode's kind of dedicated to all the art, just to give the community an inside look at how it came about and who was involved. So. Right. We're very excited about it. So
thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Yes. Anything else you want to add about it, or?
Well, what I find exciting about this particular piece is this is an activity room, and kids and families come in here and work. But to have art on the wall gives them energy. So it takes just a simple room, a classroom, but when you put art into a classroom, it's no different than when you put art into your kitchen or your home, or your family room. Putting art on the wall really creates an environment.
It almost inspires
it does.
Children and adults when they see a piece.
Right.
It gets their imagination going and inspires them to create something like this.
Right. That's really what I believe, that art really enhances the quality of life. And I think that by having art in your library, today libraries, it used to be you would go to the library to get a book. Today, it's not just about the books in the library. It's the books, it's the computers, but it's a place for community to congregate. And I know you have lots of events in your library, and having art is just part of the arts and culture that the library brings.
It all ties in together.
Right.
So well,
thank you so
This
much.
is so nice that we can have this, and the Berman family all working together in the community in her memory. It's truly wonderful. So
thank you very much.
Thank you so much for talking to me today.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm standing in the youth department at the library in front of this beautiful mural titled Reading Through Time, designed by Michigan artist Stacy Schwartz. Stacy designed and hand-painted this intricate mural aptly titled Reading Through Time. The mural shows transportation through history, including stories and items of local interest. See if you can pick out the Novi landmarks of your favorite stories in this stunning 3-wall panoramic mural. Next time you're in the youth department at the library, stop by to see this wonderful mural and pick up your favorite read. I'm standing outside on the library's patio in front of the beautiful I Love My Country statue. In honor of their 50th wedding anniversary, this bronze patriotic statue is to commemorate Hugh and Kathy Crawford, longtime Novi residents. Both very active in the community. Hugh and Kathy have a long history of public service for Oakland County and Novi. In lieu of gifts, the Crawfords gave their guests the opportunity to make a donation to the library for the purchase of this statue. This statue was designed by Randolph Rose of Yonkers, New York. Next time you're on the patio enjoying a good book or eating your lunch, be sure to check out this beautiful statue. Thank you for tuning into this episode of Beyond Books, which was dedicated to all the art that is located in the library. I look forward to seeing you soon around the library, either checking out a book, signing up for a program, or taking a tour to see all the art that was just featured on this episode. Thanks again, and I will see you soon.